Hello and welcome to episode 30 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft. Joining me, as always, my esteemed co host, the raptured Seth Martin.
What is up, my sister? That's not a real thing, by the way.
What, the rapture?
Yeah.
I mean, it was supposed to happen today. We still have 4 hours on the East Coast left for it to potentially happen. It could have happened and we just were left behind, Seth.
Well, we do what we can.
Yep. Anyway, how's your week going? Now that you know that you're probably going to get the rest of the week.
It's been going well, just busy, busy, busy. Just games, work, uh, whatever. It's been good stuff. How about you, my friend?
Yeah, it's been good. My mother-in-law came up this weekend, hung out with us, and then yeah, just working. And also exciting time in the baseball world, as I'm sure you're aware of too, Seth. It's the final week of the regular season, and Cleveland is in an interesting spot with the ability to be the first team in Major League Baseball history to be down double-digit games in the month of September and come back and win their division. Big series going on right now against the Detroit Tigers. If we win this series, we take the division lead. So I'm kind of one eye glued on my phone and one eye glued on the podcast as we go through here. Because if we win tonight, we're tied for the lead in the division. So how are the Yankees doing?
I've been so busy trying to get into football and watching, some MLS, some Major League Soccer that I've kind of lost track a little bit. I mean, it's been hit or miss from what I do. I try to kind of peek at the scores at least, even if I can't watch a game. But just win some, lose some. I don't know the standings right now, but I mean, that's pretty standard for the Yankees. I feel like just in general, solid, but not extraordinary right now.
Yeah, I think they're leading the wild card, so I think they're pretty safe to make it. But is Bridget a Yankees fan too?
She is, yeah, kind of casual like me. Like we're not diehards or anything, but yeah.
Yeah. You've been a lot more into soccer and football now. Big win for your Panthers this weekend, 30-0.
A- Any win for the Carolina Panthers is a big win right now.
Did you
So
watch the
yeah,
game?
I'll take it. Oh yeah, every minute.
How are you? Football's an interesting thing, right? Like I've watched football since I was a little kid, and I think with baseball and basketball, it's really it's pretty simple to kind of keep up and understand what's going on. But football is not that way. There's a lot of rules, and you're a guy who's kind of gotten into it later in life. How do you like? How is catching up on the rules? Like, do you feel pretty comfortable like keeping up with what you're watching now?
Yeah, more and more. I found like kind of just takes time. Like when I started with baseball, I just kind of I bought whatever it is, like the season pass, MLB TV,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just watch as many games as I could, like with my schedule at the time, and played MLB the Show here and there, and kind of did that a little bit for a couple of years. And I mean, it took a while, like a couple of years of just being a super casual, just kind of like taking stuff in when I could to kind of get a grasp of the game, kind of some of the ins and outs. I still can't tell you what like an infield fly rule is. I know it's a thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't define some of the things for you. But and some things, like when you see it, but there's a whole vocabulary that goes along with each sports. There's just a jargon. And football is very much the same way. Like soccer and baseball and whatever, you kind of just get like you hit the ball or you don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
In
kick the ball
baseball,
in the goal, or yeah.
soccer, you kick the ball to the goal. There are little kind of rules here and there that kind of like change the game a little bit, but nothing like just crazy. Like you push somebody, you intentionally hurt somebody, you get some kind of repercussion for that. But football is just a different beast, and it's taken me. I mean, I've watched very casual football all my life, just like a couple games a season or so, but I've never really like gotten into it and tried to follow a team or anything. And so kind of now that I've gotten my like mind wrapped around a couple of other sports, this has been tricky. Football is tough. I bought Madden last year and tried it for like a month and just I mean I was dog shit terrible. And so I've just decided to try again this year. So I feel like I watch and I'm able to kind of keep track of what's going on more and more. Every year that I do these things. So I imagine in a few years I'm going to be a scholar. But right now I'm still kind of like every once in a while I have to lean over and ask Bridge, and I'm like, so why? What's the difference between what was it? There was one call the other day, and I think it was a Chiefs game. What was the term? I don't remember. It was like a word. Oh, encroachment.
Mm-hmm.
It
Yeah.
was, and I was like, "What is the difference with encroachment versus
Offsides.
being offsides?" Yeah,
Yeah.
she didn't really know either. She had never heard the word encroachment before. I was like, "Well, at least I know what the word means, but I don't know the difference in the
So
call."
so an encroachment penalty is if the defender touches an offensive player before the snap. So offsides is just if you cross the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. So
Is that not a false start?
no, false start only happens on offense. That's when an offensive player
Okay,
moves before the snap.
okay,
And then you have
gotcha.
the neutral zone infraction, which is if the defender jumps across the line of scrimmage, causing somebody on the offense to move before the snap. And that's a
Hmm.
neutral zone infraction. There's
So you
it,
see,
dude,
this is
it's stupid. There's like
th-
a million rules and yeah.
this is the stuff, and I know like a lot of those rules are just in place to keep people from getting their fucking skulls bashed in, or at least like not just bloodied and battered as much as possible. 'Cause, like I like to the thing that appeals to me about football. I don't know if you've ever looked at it like this, and we're probably spending too long talking about this whenever, but I don't care. I feel like football is the closest thing to like old school like war, just like Viking tribes rolling up against like a group of Saxon soldiers or something like that. Like you're fighting over turf, you're kind of pushing back and forth. I don't know. Is that a thing? Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
no, it makes sense. I kind of see it kind of like modern day gladiators, right? Like it
Yeah,
because
yeah,
it's hyper violent. It's kind of blood sport. We play in these giant ass arenas with everybody gawking in, and we've seen people literally die on the field, and we're just like on to the next game. Like uh,
yeah.
I sometimes have a weird relationship with football because there are times where like something so brutal happens where it makes it hard for me to watch. I remember I was watching in college one time, and there was this running back for South Carolina. Um, I can't remember what his first name was, but his last name was Lattimore, and he got tackled low, and it got hit directly in the knee, and his leg bent back like a flamingo. And I remember like I had a hard time watching football for like a few weeks after that because I was just like, I don't know. There's some things as a human being I don't think we're supposed to subject ourselves to, and that sort of raw,
Y-
unadulterated violence. And this was back when they didn't do the whole like we're not going to show the replay of that. They were showing every angle, every slow motion. Like it was
Yeah,
terrible.
things have changed over the years for sure. Gotten a little more PG, but yeah, I think this is and I mean that's the thing, like right, like people have like post traumatic stress from combat, and so like yeah, we're probably not meant to take in like the common man is probably not really intended to take in that level of violence sometimes, but
Mhm.
lo and behold, like we also kind of love it at the same time. Now, the biggest thing I think I've struggled with, like at least in the past, is like I feel like every sport has people that aren't great characters
Yeah,
as people. I feel like football, you see a lot more of that than some other sports. Maybe the NBA kind of close in second. I feel like baseball still, even though you have stuff like from time to time pop up in baseball or like soccer, I feel like it's nowhere near as like just all these people are beating the hell out of their wives and stuff like that.
yeah. Um, no, it kind of sucks because it's definitely one of those like if you're a difference maker on the field and you do that kind of shit, you kind of get a pass or a lesser thing. And so there are things for me that make it kind of tough to watch football, but it's just it's a part of my fall weekends, and it has been for my whole life. I think it's interesting though that you're getting into it because I feel like in a lot of ways, like the feeling that you have when you're watching football is probably the feeling a lot of people get when they're trying to like watch an esport. or something, like there are questions that you would probably have about a football game that I would never think about because I've been watching it my whole life, and I feel like that's really the same way with esports, where it's like if you don't play this game and you just try to watch it, football is probably the best equivalent to how hard it is to kind of keep up with what's going on screen.
Yeah, but I mean, still, there's a difference. I feel like esports, you really need to know, like, you need to have played the game. You can, like, I've never played, well, I've played like pickup football games, like in the yard as kids or whatever. But I've never like played on any kind of amateur level or anything. So I feel like you can still get into it and watch it and like kind of learn as you go. But esports, I feel like is so different because you really have to know like there's not other if it's not like a fighting game where it's just like all taking place on the one screen, like just a
Mhm.
person versus person. You kind of have to know the ins and outs. Like you have to know the maps a little bit. You have to know the specific rules of the games. You're not going to be able to see everybody on the field at once unless like it's just an occasional zoom out. You're a lot of the time just kind of getting little fractions of what's happening at any given time, and you kind of just have to either listen to the announcers, the shoutcasters, or like just kind of put the pieces together in context to figure out what's going on. So I think esports has a long way to go as far as that.
Mhm.
Even football, like as complicated as it is, you're still just kind of watching dudes run around on the screen,
Yeah.
and so you're able to kind of take it all in.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a lot of esports would benefit from like standardizing the camera angle and do less of like the player point of view and more the kind of like bird's eye view where you can kind of take in the action from over the top.
So you can probably tell me, and we've probably spent way too long on this, but on this Marvel Rivals podcast, this isn't Marvel Rivals podcast, by the way. If you're just joining us, I feel like how long has this been a thing? The Sky Cam or whatever they are for like college football games,
Oh,
where
for
you have like the
yeah.
drone view.
Basically
Long time.
since basically since high definition was a thing.
Okay, I guess just where I finally purchased like ESPN, like in the streaming era. So I'm taking in like a buttload of college football on Saturdays, and or at least when I'm like at home chilling. So that I've been kind of impressed with that. Like it
Mhm.
makes you feel like you're there on the field a little bit, but of course
Yeah.
you don't have the announcers doing their thing.
Oh,
So
you're
that's a
watching
nice
you
touch to
you check
have.
out like the legit just Skycam broadcast of it. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah,
newer
yeah.
thing. I mean, in the last like
Okay,
5 or 6 years, but like
okay,
ever
that's
since
kind of what I
ESPN
was
really
thinking.
got into their like app game, like streaming, you know. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I think esports would benefit from more kind of standardized bird's eye view angles like that. But you're right. This is a Marvel Rivals podcast, and we spent a lot of time talking about football. But this is Rival Banter. We get together every week and talk about all things Marvel Rivals, and then push it out on podcast services everywhere and on YouTube. Just search up Rival Banter, and then if you want to check us out on social media, we have a TikTok and Instagram account at Rival Banter. Yeah, check us out any of those places and leave us comments, and we'll respond to them like we're about to get into right now. W Blood over on Spotify said, I love Angela as well, but I feel like if they buff her damage in any way, she will be too strong. Also, you can't give her CC immunity with her dash because she would have no counterplay. I think that when she slams the ground, she should ground flyers around her, and the zone she leaves should have a slow effect. Then they couldn't escape as fast, but also it's not like they can't be healed through it with her negligible damage on the ground. Quite a bit to unpack there, Seth, but we've been playing a lot more ranked over the last week or so. And I feel like I've not seen a whole lot of Angela. I've watched some high level play as well and not seen any Angela. Um, you know, we gave our first impressions, but now that we've had a little bit of more time with her, how do you feel about where Angela's at?
I don't know. I mean, I still see a lot of potential with Angela. I think people are kind of scared of her. I mean, she's a lot, right? Like you've got to kind of navigate her any given time. You've got to be able to fly around. You've got to have your healers. Your healers have to work a lot harder to keep track of her. She's a lot faster a flyer than like Iron Man
Mhm.
or somebody like that, right? And even then, Iron Man or somebody flying high can be kind of hard to pinpoint unless you've got a cloak and dagger or whoever. So I don't know, like, I feel like that's maybe a part of it. We've kinda talked about, or we've seen some success in quick play at least with 3 tank compositions where you've got her as kind of like a she's kinda filling in like a flank DPS role. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's necessarily a great reason why she's not in comp. Because again, like she can deal out a lot of damage. She can do a lot, but yeah, you're right. We haven't really seen her in any of the matches that we've played this season. Granted, we're in silver, but but she hasn't really been in Ignite either right now.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's just number one, the skill ceiling for her is like insanely high, and I think the skill floor for her to be effective is really high too. Um, where it is a totally different way to play tank as you're flying. You're not as kind of involved in just the raw taking of space. I think she has a lot of tankiness with any threat coming like towards her because she has that shield, but at any other angle, you can kind of get caught out and she dies pretty quick. And she's not in a position generally to just be getting constantly pumped with heals like a Captain America or even a Venom, like in the back line, right? Those other kinds of tanks that play her way.
And at the same time, you can't really soak up well, I mean, you can, but in a different way, I guess, or in different intervals. But it's a little harder to kind of just stay in the front line and just absorb damage, right, or block that damage. You've got to kind of get in and out. You've got to again worry about flanking, balancing, ground versus air, your time there, and kind of what you're doing there if you want to maximize your cooldowns and your ability use. But yeah, for sure. I think we would just might need some more time with Angela, and I imagine she'll get probably some kind of sexy buff at some point that'll make her a lot more competitively viable or just popular in general.
Yeah, I do agree. It's not going to be to her damage. I don't think you can really do anything with her damage to make her, because I do think she's just really hard to deal with in terms of her mobility. But yeah, I do think that they might add some abilities to like the ground slam or something like that. But the fake Slim Shady might have some insight here for us, Seth. Why don't you read this next comment?
Take some shady, assuming that you're standing up. Angela is very hit or miss, I feel. She's like a weird hybrid of Cap and Thor, but with wings. She flies and chases people to confirm kills like Cap can, and bullies flankers in 1v1s like Thor can, and her ult is good. I highly dislike her design. It is so good at anti dive, and just makes other fun characters less fun to play. The only good thing for the meta she provides is being anti-flyer, so Torch and Iron Man get stomped. I definitely agree with that last part. She's kind of a hard counter on the tank front to those characters. She can just kind of kidnap them, fly them down. Just like another, like if you pair her with a thing, then you've definitely got an anti-flyer comp there.
And an anti dive comp
Yeah,
because
yeah.
things
So
really good against the dive too.
I
Um,
like that. I feel like this person, you said you highly dislike her design. It sounded like you like it a lot.
well, I think I get what he's saying or they're saying with just the idea that like when you have a character who is such a clear counter to certain really fun characters to play, you just have a less opportunity to play them. But I mean, I think the dive is always kind of favored the DPS players within the dive, and it's always kind of favored the team that's doing the dive because there have been far fewer options in the tank role to deal with dive. And so having another character that can do that, and I feel like her ground pound thing is like on a relatively long cooldown. I think it's like 12 or 13 seconds before you're able to do it again. And so you still have windows as dive characters if you're kind of monitoring the opponent Angela's cooldowns to like get the dive in. But I love that we have more characters that have more peeling ability. I mean, Thing has always been a good dive counter because of that as well. So I'm all for that play. Thor hasn't really been relevant in any kind of like a comp meta in a long time. And so, even though he has those anti dive properties, I just don't think that he's been present enough for it to really matter. So I think we'll see kind of Angela. I think Angela's got a lot of mechanics that are going to take a lot of time to figure out. And so we'll probably slowly start to see her full potential getting unlocked over time. But but yeah, we'll just have to see.
And
Um,
she's the first flying tank, like, in general, so, like, that's gotta be a bit kind of an adjustment period.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I can't remember who else we talked about this with. Maybe it was, I think it might have been Ultron, where it was just like we had this flying strategist who does a lot of damage, and it's like you don't want to so overtune them that they just become totally not fun to play against. And I feel like that's kind of the approach they took with Angela. Like, we're not going to lose our minds with all of her abilities because just the fact that she's able to fly is so different from anything else in this role. Our next comment is about loot boxes, and it comes from Cumpante. Uh, and says,
Coupons.
Cumpant, loot boxes are only cool if you can earn them from playing. As a Destiny 2 vet, microtransactions deserve a special place in hell, and Rivals has been pretty decent about them. Seth, we played a lot of Destiny 2. Can you remind me kind of how they went about microtransactions? I know they started introducing a lot more by the end.
I think, I mean, some of it you could buy. I mean, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long now, and that game has existed in so many different forms. Like
Yeah.
it kind of had like a reawakening every 6 months to a year or so. I just changed drastically, but I want to say like number one, like just you're kind of always at the mercy of the RNG, the random number generator, anyway, with the Ingrams, and
Yeah.
that whole system of unlocking stuff, gear, whatever. Um, I'm
And then
trying.
they did add some like paid currency that you had to use for certain kinds of like
Silver for
customization.
cosmetics and stuff,
Yeah.
yeah. They started doing, like, crossover skins with other IP.
Oh,
Destiny loot
I was out of it by the
boxes.
time they started doing that, I think. I didn't
Yeah, yeah,
realize
they had,
they
like, Witcher-themed skins. They've got, like, a whole Star Wars-themed season coming up where they have a bunch of stuff that's Star Wars without Star Wars.
that's interesting.
Oh, they were Bright Ingrams. Bright Ingrams, I remember. I was thinking they had something to do with Ingrams. Yeah, you could, like, pay a certain currency, or I think there were ways to get them in game too, I think, but, they gave you, like, this just kinda random cosmetic stuff, but again, it was all totally random.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, look, he's just kind of agreeing with what we were talking about last week, which is just like don't put loot box exclusive items in there. And I do think Rivals is one of those games that strikes a pretty good balance of you can pay for things, but if you engage with our game enough, you're going to have the ability to unlock a lot of stuff. And look, man, as somebody who works with a community in a free to play environment, you know, there's always going to be people within that community who just have zero interest in spending money on anything. And anytime you try to introduce any mechanic that gets them to part with their money, they're going to, it's going to cause some friction. I think, in my opinion, Rivals has bought a lot of goodwill with the way that they've decided to go about it. So if they wanted to bring about a loot box kind of mechanic into the game, I'm not going to just cry foul because they're using the word loot box. I'm gonna give it an opportunity to see how it pans out, right?
For sure, yeah.
Then Kufi, we were talking a little bit about Rogue as a strategist, and they said if she's a strategist, I can see her hits draining the opponent's life while adding to hers, and maybe kind of like Emma Frost ult, instead of adding health, boosting attacks, hers would be life drain, adding to team's life. I started to realize after I posted the clips about Rogue that what I was describing was just Marvel Rivals Brigida, with like
That makes sense.
her ability to heal an area of effect uh, while doing melee attacks. Uh, I don't know, man. I've seen a lot, and I'll read this one from Ryan as well because he says, "I literally just picture Kirby and Smash. I wonder if she will stop characters from using the ability she steals for a set time." Um, and a lot of people, talking about this mechanic of like stealing individual abilities from people. Like, hey, if you attack like Luna Snow, you'll get like her snowball. If you attack Invisible Woman, you'll get her shield or something like that. I personally think that might be a little too complicated because then you're having to like remember every character, like what ability you're going to steal from them. but I don't know. Do you see something like that being a part of her kit?
I mean, sure, anything's possible, right? And it's on theme, on brand for Rogue. So I mean, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. How would you feel about it if it was like the opponent couldn't use that ability for a set amount of time?
Um, I, I mean, it's gonna change up the game, right? So it's not totally, totally unwelcome. But yeah, it could be definitely frustrating. But I mean, that's gonna be any kind of new and weird idea at first, and then you kind of have to find ways to work around it. So I'm not totally opposed to it. Definitely could see the room for the frustration though.
Mhm. I'm also just thinking about like visually, like how do you denote that she has a different character's ability? So like Kirby in Smash, when you suck another character, as they say, he'll Kirby will wear like an item, right? So like if you steal Mario's ability, he's like wearing the Mario cap or whatever. Um, I feel like you would have to have some sort of visual indication about what ability that doesn't belong to Rogue she is holding, and I'm just not sure how you would be able to do that clearly. Because like with Loki, right? He steals an ability and becomes that character. So it's really easy to keep up with. But I don't know how you would do it for individual abilities being stolen. Um, all right, Seth, why don't you read this next one from Zach Doris 07?
Zach Doris says, I need Gambit so bad. Beta Ray Bill too. I don't care if he's close to Thor. He's different enough that they could be creative and make him unique. Yeah, Gambit. He's speaking your language, Luke. I mean,
Yeah.
Gambit. I can imagine would be just so fun. And I would think would have to be a duelist in this game, and I would be totally fine with that. I mean, it fits the bill. Speaking of Bill, Beta Ray Bill, yeah, it's pretty much Thor. But again, like I
Tell me
feel like
more
there's
about Beta Ray Bill. I have no idea who this is.
so if you look him up, and I'm not like a lore scholar on Beta Ray Bill, but I know him. He looks cool as hell. He's like a looks like a alien horseman, dressed up like cosplaying as Thor. And he kind of has a hammer like Thor. Um, yeah, he again like pretty much looks just like him, but he's just like horseman alien dude. And there are a lot of cool stories with him I know of. I just couldn't like recite any of that lore to you offhand, but really cool. He is basically Thor in all ways, hammer and all. He even may even wield. Does he? I don't think he wields Mjolnir, but maybe
He has Mjolnir in
Mjolnir.
at least some of these covers that come up when I'm image searching him, but in this one from Marvel Animated Universe, he appears to just be holding some sort of oversized gavel.
So yeah, his is called Stormbreaker, which is I think the name of the axe in the MCU, but has the same properties as Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. So he also has a hammer. I guess it's just a different hammer. Um, okay, yeah. So I mean, that would be cool. I would hope that they would kind of differentiate him in some way. Again, we've talked about this before, but Marvel's just chock full of all these characters that are kind of the exact same person with the exact same abilities. But that you can just kind of design or contrive little differences, I'm sure, to kind of mix up their gameplay.
Mhm.
You've got like Captain America and Red Guardian. That's just the Russian Cap. Maybe you could make Red Guardian, a duelist or something like that. Maybe not as like beefy,
Yeah.
like maybe kind of change the kid around a little bit to differentiate him enough from Captain America. Same thing for like Bucky Barnes has been in the Captain America role before. Pretty much same exact dude, but maybe change him around a little bit. So yeah, Red Hulk, Green Hulk, Compound Hulk, all all these guys. There's so many
Undead
different
Hulk or
un
Immortal Hulk.
Im Immortal Hulk, which that's pretty much just Hulk, just, in the far flung apocalypse or whatever. The Maestro, just like Evil Hulk. Like, the list goes on. I would love any and all of those things. We got to get a Maestro at least skin at some point, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, I want more of this kind of stuff. I'm excited to see there's so much creative wiggle room they have, and to like kind of re-envision some of these characters like they did with Emma. It's been done before. There's a precedent, so I have to imagine that's kind of what they have planned for some of these characters. I just imagine it'll be a while because they're probably trying to work in as many kind of like people that we know and love as we can right now that are kind of different enough from each other. Who the hell expected Angela? But here she is, and I love my big lady.
Yeah, I'm not going to be shocked by anyone that they decide to put in this game. So, we've got Jeff the Land Shark, who I'd never heard of prior to Marvel Rivals becoming a thing. I think this is a great avenue to introduce people to new characters. I do think for these kind of characters that are like parallel to other characters, I think you do need to have the uh like differentiating roles, right? So if they were to add like Beta Ray Bill, I don't think they could do it as like another tank. He would need to be in some other role. It's not the exact same thing, but with like Venom and Spider-Man, right, where they kind of have the same aesthetic, the differentiation in size makes it a lot easier to kind of know who's who uh, in the heat of battle as well. So um, all right, well, let's move on to the news, Seth, and talk about the newest skin coming to the store this week. It is the Hela Grim Lady costume, and we've got the trailer. I'm playing this right now. I'm not well, I do play Hela when I'm tilted. I'm not great with her. Um, this skin
Yeah, I
is
know that
sick.
game. That's a good looking skin. She's got some banger skins, like the kind of null themed skin she has. I think is really cool. I've heard some people hate on that, but I think it's good. This is an awesome skin too. She's one that hasn't gotten a ton of love, so she's well overdue. And on top of all that, there's the hubba hubba factor. Like this is more of that gooner bait that the Marvel Rivals communities come to know and love, and it's less than 1 year with us.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we did get the event, the Hella event during the last season that featured a new skin for her. I don't know when the last time we got a store skin for her is, but I also love this because I think we're starting to get a little bit of a sneak peek, possibly, at what might be on the way for more of the Halloween style of skins, because this trailer definitely has the kind of like, you know, it's got the scarecrows, it's got the like the phantom horses pulling the carriage at the beginning of it, and so I think that this is us starting to kind of slowly reveal what we might be able to expect as we move through October.
I wasn't even thinking of that, but it makes a lot of sense. Grim Lady is the name, so it kind of has this like Grim Reaper um, element to it. Yeah, I notice it's in the timely like pantheon or whatever you want to call it, like the timely collection, kind of like so. It's I guess supposed to be more Western themed,
Mm,
like the Black Widow skin or the what is it the one in this battle pass with
yeah,
what's
the
his name
Ultron
Star
skin and
Lord.
Star Lord.
Well,
Yeah,
that too, yeah. So timely. I could see it just kind of being westerny, but maybe it's got like a little red what was that Red Dead game mode or like the DLC Red Dead
oh
something
yeah, I can't
like
remember what it was.
zombies in the West or something like that. I could see this kind of being in that vein, but I don't know. Either way, cool as hell.
Yeah, I'm loving it. Probably will just be one of those. I'll wait till they get it. That's one I want to have, but I won't do it until I get like a costume token, and she's available in that. That skin's available for a costume token. But all right, well, let's move on to the next story, which is that we got the is it K'un Lun, K'un Lun,
I've heard
K'un
like
Lun.
in the well, at least in the what is it? The maybe lose my train of thought. The Netflix series. It was K'un Lun, but
Mm.
I don't know if how much they researched the proper pronunciation. It's Chinese. Seems like a cool place. There's a dragon in there somewhere.
Yeah, it gives you kind of Overwatch Hanamura vibes in this trailer with the like
A
cherry
little bit, yeah.
blossoms and the architecture and stuff like this. What kind of map is this again? Is this a convergence map or a
I looked for that and I couldn't. I didn't see it specified anywhere. Maybe I just missed it, but I don't know. I was kind of hoping that it was going to be, the newer game mode, which I'm now blanking on the name of, but that we
resource
enjoyed
rumble?
so
I know
much.
it's not a resource
Yeah,
rumble.
yeah.
Let's see, season 4 new because I know it was listed in this Marvel Rivals.gg article that we pulled up a couple weeks ago. It is a
Okay,
convergence map, so
okay,
which I'm okay with that too. I mean, we had the Tokyo 1099 one get taken out of the competitive rotation, and so adding in a new one I think is good. And I don't know, convergence is probably my I don't know. How would you rank your favorite mode, Seth, between domination, convergence, and convoy?
you probably know this about me. I am really bad at choosing things. I just like I panic before the decision. I'm always constant. I'm thinking about all sides of the thing. So, and I'm bad at picking favorites. Like if you ask me my favorite food, I'm gonna give you five different things, just because I can't choose. But if I don't, if I had to go, I'd go domination's probably my favorite mode
Same.
overall.
Mhm.
I don't know that I could choose between convergence and convoy. I want to say convoy just because I like. Well, no, I mean they're the same thing, just with a domination element to them. So yeah, I'm gonna go dom first, and then just like a tie between the other two. What about you?
I think I like Convoy more, but I don't think it's necessarily because of the game mode itself. I think it's just I like the Convoy maps better than I like the conversions maps. I hate uh the Black Panther convergence map with a passion. I hate having a fight on that first point. Like it's so defense favored. And but yeah, I think I enjoy the like Idrisil and the other Tokyo convoy map a lot better. But what I like about this map is we've seen so much Clintar in the last 2 months that I thought that Marvel Rivals was only able to design dark, gooey, dreary maps. And this is just so 180 degrees aesthetically from what we've been getting over the last 2 months. And I'm so here for it, man. These are the kinds of maps I really love to play on. They're bright, they seem really wide open. The design of this is gorgeous. So I'm very excited about this map releasing, I think, this weekend, right?
Yeah, I think it's a Thursday the 25th, if I'm not mistaken. I know that's the date of the Dragon's Blessing that we're gonna get to next.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Real quick, what is the baby that Iron Fist is watching over at the end
I
of this
have
trailer?
no idea. I do not know who that baby is.
I think I
So
saw something where, like, he has a voice line with Angela where he talks about Iona or something like that. I don't know the exact
mm,
name, but yeah, little interesting like thing at the end of this trailer, seeing Iron Fist protecting a baby in a in a crib. But
hmm.
I will take the segue that you gave me, and we'll talk about the Dragon's Blessing event that's coming up this weekend as well. We've got a trailer for it, which I think is interesting considering just what's in the past. I'll play this trailer right here. Um, I don't know, man. So it looks like all that's in the past is you're going to get a costume token, and you're going to get some of the unstable whatever where you can change the um, where you change the colors of your costumes, and then 500 units, and that really seems to be all that's in this. So it's interesting that it got a trailer, even if it is just like a 20-second thing. I don't know. How do you feel about this?
I think it's awesome. It appears like it's all free too, which is nuts. It's like they're just giving you. I think there are like 500 units you can get in there, so like they're just giving you $5 and a free skin. Count, sign me up.
Yeah, and there's 4 new skins being added to the costume token library between the 25th and the 9th. So, Invisible Woman Malice skin, the Mr. Fantastic Maker skin, the Human Torch Negative Zone something skin, and the Thing trench coat skin. So, I feel like that's several really popular costumes as well that they're adding to this, and with such a short window with the 25th and October 9th, this is really just like an engagement play where they're like, we really just want people to lock in for 2 weeks with us.
Yeah.
um, I do find it interesting that they are doing these things. These are the kinds of events that I don't think are like road mapped out. Because there's nothing like resource intensive to have to design and stand up, right? Like they already have all these systems in place, and so it really seems kind of like a reactionary thing to say, like you're saying, we're just going to fill this pass up with like $5 in free currency and some unstable molecules or whatever they're called, and then give people a free skin. And I
And oh,
Yeah,
go
go ahead.
ahead. Sorry.
No, I was
Oh,
going
my
to
bad.
maybe segue, but you go ahead.
I was kind of going to segue to, or kind of set it up. Like I didn't think about it until just now, but it almost makes me wonder if this doesn't have something to do with like what we planned for our last news bit, which is, do we want to go ahead and jump into that now?
Yeah. I was going to have this be our topic, but I think it's a good segue, which is yeah, you go for it.
So apparently, and checking out the source, this is true, at least on PC, that Overwatch, first time since Marvel Rivals has come out, less than a year later, has now this week had more players. Was it this week or this past week? Had
It
more
was
players than
August.
Marvel Rivals. Okay, in
Yeah, through the
August.
month
So
of
in all of
August.
August, which kind of tracks, like if we're just thinking about it, because I think everybody tends to agree that season three was kind of a lull, even though it seemed like it was going to be super exciting. So maybe that's part of it. No shade at Overwatch again. I still have a deep love for that game. I think it's so original and so fun. And we wouldn't have this game, Marvel Rivals, without it. It's the pappy of this thing that we love. But yeah, this almost makes me wonder, like, is this kind of a ploy? Just, hey, take $5, take one of these skins. We've added some more to kind of the free repertoire for these costume tokens. It makes me kind of wonder if this is a reaction to that, just to kind of bait players into getting back into the season four swing.
Yeah, and I don't necessarily think it's because like NetEase looked and was like, "Oh shit, Overwatch overtook us. We better do something," right? But I do think we've seen this consistent trend over the last few months of the player base for Marvel Rivals going down and down, right? And I need to look. I'm interested, and I might pull this up, but at the Steam charts, how much of a spike the game got with season four and with Angela, right? I I don't think Angela is really a get people to tune in kind of a character edition like Blade or even Phoenix was.
She's not like a marquee fighter kind of thing. She's not the person that you advertise on the billboard. So yeah, that may be a detriment. Of course, we've got Daredevil to look forward to. Maybe that's kind of the logic behind putting him second in the season rotation. But yeah, I agree. It's so hard. Like I've been wondering myself, as we talked last week about how I've been getting into Fortnite too. I'm trying to do all the things, if you can't tell out there, people, as I'm approaching middle age. But as I talk about children's games, but whatever. Thinking about Fortnite a lot, and like just had the longevity of that game and how like it still is consistently in the top. It was above both of these games in this roster or this rotation, right? For the August most played games, Fortnite is number 5.
Hmm.
And it's down a spot in August, but still number 5. That game's been out since 2018 or whatever it is. Like, my God. And so, like, the thing about that game, and I think the thing that has kind of wrapped me in, just like on a sociological level, is that it's just everything. It's pure joy. Like it's this place where you can kind of be any of these characters that you want to be just at any given time, whether you have to pay for them or earn them or whatever. You can like be any of your favorite people from your favorite media, just about. And if not yet, then probably soon. You can make your own games. You can play different versions of the same game, kind of all kinds of different spins on the core like battle royale concept. It's basically like Roblox. You have, did you know there are like 3 to 4 different season passes going on at any given time in Fortnite?
No, I have no. I mean, I know they've kind of made themselves into a Roblox style,
It's
build
a
your own stuff.
whole I mean, like, and they've got, like, a Rocket League-esque kinda racing game, not like
Hmm.
the soccer stuff, but, like, racing. There's the whole, like, Fortnite festival thing that goes on. There's a Lego, like, kinda Minecraft-y Fortnite
Hmm.
experience with the Lego brand. So this game is just, like, everything all at once, and I think that's the package that appeals so much to people because you can do whatever. There's a battle royale, just like regular Fortnite season pass. There is the OG season pass, which gives you like old skins, maybe redone or old stuff. There's a Lego season pass. There's a music pass that gives you skins and songs for your menus and stuff like that, so you can kind of like change the songs and the stuff that you look at between games. And then there is a Lego pass. And then if you don't want to buy all those separately, you can pay $12 a month to be part of the Fortnite crew. And that gives you access to all 4 of those passes at the same time. Plus, it gives you like 1,000 V-Bucks a month or something like that. Which is, I feel like that's brilliant. Like that's one of the it, smartest things I've ever heard from a business standpoint. If you want like for this kind of a live service model, that they've like mastered this thing. It's why they're the biggest game in the business, outside of Minecraft or Counter Strike 2.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like, I do think that there are some sort of untouchable games, and Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, I think are those kinds of games where uh, they've carved out their audience so well and understand their audience so well, and what it is that they're asking for. And I feel like Fortnite adds in new things at like a breakneck pace as well. There's just always something new, new characters, new game modes, new events to jump into. And I also think that Fortnite is just really approachable as a casual player too. Like, you don't have to be super sweaty in order to uh, kind of find your home there. That's not to say that those kinds of sweaty games can't top the charts. I mean, Counter Strike 2 and CS:GO are in the number one spot of this, and
20
that's
years later or whatever it is,
yeah, and
right?
that's as sweaty as it gets.
Yeah, and so, like, it's just how do you keep these things alive? And I think that's what Rivals is trying to figure out or, like, establish as a brand. So, like, right now we're in kind of a growing pains phase. Like, think about how popular Helldivers was. Helldivers 2, when it launched, uh, just over a year ago, year and a half or something like that. It was part of that kind of busy rush, I feel like, at the end of 2024 or so, or at least, like, in the fall, winter season. That game was so much fun and it like just took the world by storm and it still has a pretty like respectable player base, but like everything's gonna kind of peter off after a while if it's not dynamic enough. And again, think about how much Fortnite has changed from what it was. It was originally like a full price game that had
Hmm.
nothing to do with Battle Royale. Then it,
Yeah.
totally reinvented itself and it has kind of continued to do so in like in a way that people really respond to. So that's what I'm sure we've got to kind of get to. Rivals is a pretty sweaty game right now. I think it's got it's working on it. It's getting there, but I think it's got a few issues and kinks to kind of work out, some growing pains in 2025. And it's probably taking a lot from Fortnite and from other games that are as big or bigger than it is. It's I mean, to be only still like a year old, being in what spot was it, 6? No. Where was it? 16.
Yeah.
Not terrible. Not bad. I mean, Helldivers is right above it still, Overwatch 2, and then of course COD, whatever. But still respectable just to be a year old and to have gone through its first like lull, or its first kind of like mid-level season. I'll take it. I'm not scared for the game or anything like that.
And especially because they're competing against I think, two kind of similar games with Overwatch and Valorant that are a lot more mature and a lot more just in terms of its design and like its community and its rhythms.
And to be fair, this is also, like, a part of the PC conversation, like, this is exclusive to
Yeah,
PC, this metric, right? So, like,
yeah,
how many people are playing like, you can't even play Counter-Strike on console. Roblox, you're limited to, like, what stuff you can play. I don't know what Peak is. Cool. League of Legends, The Sims 4, how many people are still kicking it with The Sims on PlayStation or on their Xbox? I'm sure, like, still a reasonable number, but, I feel like it's gonna be way different on console versus here. Dota 2 and some of those games on PC, PUBG, you know.
yeah. I would be really interested to see the sort of like console equivalent of this because you're right. It does knock out a significant number of these games that are not available on console. But also, I think of Valorant, Overwatch, and Rivals, I think Rivals is the more casual of the three titles. Despite having a pretty sweaty competitive scene, but I feel like if you're playing those games more casually anyway, you're probably playing them on consoles. One other thing I want to bring up here is I have pulled up the Steam charts so that we can kind of look at the peak players for season 2, 3, and 4. So season 2, the peak players was 315,000 concurrent. Season 2.5, that dropped all the way down to 190,000. Season 3, got up to 163,000. Sorry. And then season 4 peaked at 132,000 over its first weekend. So if we're going from season 2 to now, they've lost 50% of their peak player base. And if we go from season 3, from season 3 to season 4, they've lost 30,000 peak concurrent players as well. And so I do think that Rivals is trying to figure out like ways to better engage their audience, keep them more informed because they are seeing kind of these diminishing returns of their largest beats of, launching characters, launching maps. And I think part of that might be due to the frequency with which we're getting these major updates. But I also think Rivals is just missing a lot of kind of basic elements that people expect to have in a competitive hero shooter, things like placement matches, things like longer seasons, so that you're not having to constantly reset your rank and regrind up. I think those are things that we see more in the battle royale space. I mean, Apex has like pretty notoriously short seasons as well, but yeah, I think they're you're right. They're still figuring it out, and I think that there are certain things that players have come to expect from a game like Overwatch that if Rivals doesn't have it, they're just not going to play. Placement matches, role queue, those kinds of things, and Rivals is going to have to try to figure out who they are, what they want to be, and how much they want to take from those places. Because as they've stated, like they're not interested in role queue, adding a role queue to the game. So if you've got a player who like wants to have role queue in a hero shooter, they're going to go play Overwatch. They're not going to play here. I think there's probably a lot of questions like that they have to answer over the coming months.
For sure.
But they have gotten they're continuing to try to be more transparent in their conversations. We get the dev blogs every single season. We got the long ass breakdown of how ranked matchmaking works and that sort of stuff. But then we also got a new voice, Marvel Rivals technical director FanFan, putting out his first episode of Technically Speaking on YouTube. Seth, did you watch this?
I'd started it. It was in the middle of esports practice, so it's hard to kind of block in focus. Yeah, so I'm gonna rely on you a little bit to kind of fill me in some of the gaps, the things that I missed.
Look, as console guys, he didn't say anything that matters to us. I'm going to tell you that.
Hmm.
Because, I mean, this was just all about them trying to be transparent about, hey, we know that there's, stuttering issues. We know that there's, some performance issues still there on PC. Here are the steps that we've taken and that we are taking to try and alleviate those things. So I don't think we're going to drill down too terribly far on the content itself of this video. What I'm more interested in is just their willingness to put voices in front of the faces in front of the camera, to give a voice to different aspects of the game, to bring more transparency. You know, we have the two guys that we see in every single dev blog video, and now this technical director coming in just to see and say, like, we hear you and we are actively working on it, improving things. And I think that's a big part in having longevity with games like this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. It helps. It's nice to have that transparency. Again, for what it's worth, it doesn't really matter to us as console players, but if at some point maybe it will. So it's nice to kind of have that community, kind of like Deej or whoever, in the Destiny community way back when. They used to do a really great job of like reaching out and staying involved in the community and keeping them in the loop about things. So I appreciate that stuff. It's great to have, even though it's maybe not always necessarily relevant to everyone.
Yeah, yeah, and I want to see more of this sort of stuff. And I think there's certainly a willingness for them to have these conversations and do these kinds of things. You know, they've also done some like one-offs about the art in the game and stuff like that too. But the more you can kind of peel back the curtain and make your community feel like they are not just being listened to, but that they are a part of that development process, I think that's something that's really been missing in a lot of other hero shooters. You know, I think Overwatch has done a better job of that over the last few years, but you know, we were screaming for stuff there in that like long ass content drought, you know, the goats meta and all that. Like the community was screaming to be heard on different aspects of the game, and it just took time. So for Rivals to be at this stage of the community development of their game, I think is really good. But I think the community needs to step up and also be as mature and kind of uh good faith engaged as the development team is. Because going back to the previous topic, I think a big reason that there's a lot of drop off is I think Marvel Rivals is uniquely toxic with its community. I've never played a game where people are just so quick to give up. Whether it's
Yeah.
you lost the first fight or somebody didn't pick the team up or the character, like, and I don't know how you adjust for that or how you develop around that kind of a community. Sometimes it's just like the nature of the beast. And with Rivals being all superheroes, maybe there's just an audience that's skewing younger, and you're far more reliant on your teammates than you are on like a Fortnite or even like a Call of Duty Warzone or something like that. I don't know. I don't know how you solve for that issue.
Yeah, I mean, somebody's got to get paid a lot of money to figure that out, because it ain't me. But yeah, I think that most people would probably agree that that's the primary issue with the game right now is just the toxicity of the community itself. But that's an issue that we've dove into time and time again.
I think it does make it complicated to kind of attack the other things that are wrong with the game, right? Because I think it's true. Like the community is toxic. That's a hard thing to tackle and a hard thing to steer in the direction that you want it to go, because you're kind of just at the mercy of the personalities of the players that play your game. But I think it also makes it a lot harder when you invest time thinking that, hey, fixing this other issue is going to bring players back. And so you invest the time and the energy into doing it and you don't see the result of the players coming back. And it's like, oh yeah, because at the end of the day, people aren't playing this game because of this thing we have very little control over, which is the perceived personality of our community.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. We're going to keep it a little short this week because we want to play some rank tonight. So I think we're going to wrap it up. But Seth, what are you hoping to get accomplished this week in Rivals?
I'm aiming to climb up to gold. I'm right there. We're at a point right now to where I don't know if this is something you want to do, but some of my guys from esports are after the reset. I think they're around plat right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, if we can get to gold, then we can get at least like a, what's the limit when you get to like
4.
plat, diamond, 4? So I mean, like that's at least a solid 4 stack that we could get into for some competitive matches. So could be cool. These kids consistently reach GM. Like I think it's been every season so far. So that could be our ticket in. You know what I'm saying? Coasting off the backs of the
That's
youth.
right. That's right. Getting carried by esports high school stars.
Hmm. Hmm. My shining stars.
Yeah. Uh, cool. Yeah, I'm hoping to get there too. I'm almost done with my summer event pass, and I'm on like page 5 or 6 of the battle pass already. So, kind of mowing through that. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Leave your comments about what you think is causing the player base to dwindle, or your more thoughts on Angela or the new map. Whatever you're thinking, leave it in the comments for us below. We'll respond to some of those next week. But good luck in you guys' games, and until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.